Welcome everybody to part 4 for July the 8th of 2011. I'm going to center now on an email that I received from a pastor in South Sudan who invited me to be the first one to speak to this brand new nation of South Sudan. And this is very significant. I want to make sure that everybody understands about this. He sent me some information from the ministry, the new Ministry of Information, Republic of South Sudan. Why is this so important? Well, if you turn to Isaiah chapter 18, I'll show you exactly why it's important. Some of the new news that I got back, I put some of this news in last week. But let me read to you Isaiah 18 and explain. It says, "Woe to the land of whirling winds along the rivers of Cush, which sends envoys by sea and pumpers boats over the water." Now, Cush in the Old Testament, it's a Hebrew word for Ethiopia. And biblically, in the Old Testament, Ethiopia would encompass both Sudan and Ethiopia. That's a very important concept to keep in mind. Now, the modern day of Sudan and Ethiopia back in the Old Testament would be one nation. That's how big it was under Ethiopia. It says, "Go swift messengers to a people tall and smooth-skinned, to a people feared far and wide, an aggressive nation of strange speech whose land is divided by rivers." The smooth-skinned people that he's talking about, who are they? We know that they're the Sudanese because in verse 2 it tells us that it is the nation is divided by the two rivers. Now, let me show you, just so that you'll understand. Here's a map of Sudan and Ethiopia. Remember that Cush word, the Jewish word Cush. And you look that I markered the river. Now here we have Sudan, where it actually splits. This is the Nile River. It splits the nations into two. You'll see that part of it runs into Ethiopia and the other part runs in Sudan. So we know that the very split is in Sudan. So we know exactly who the Lord is referring to. He's talking about Sudan. Now let's go on. It says in verse 3, "All the people of the world who live on the earth, when a banner is raised in the mountains, you will see it. And when the trump sounds, you will hear it." Now the banner, in the concordance, you'll see that the banner is a flag. So what God is telling us is that these smooth-skinned people that divides, where it divides the river, which is the Nile, and those smooth-skinned people will see a banner, a new flag being raised, right? Now, the smooth-skinned people of Sudan, guess what? Here's the brand new flag that is now, they're going to celebrate this, and I'll read this in the email. This is what the brand new banner looks like. Isaiah 18 has been fulfilled. And I'm going to explain a little bit more. So you know the dividing of the river between Sudan and Ethiopia. One nation, Cush, like in the Old Testament. They have a flag that now they're going to raise this standard, this flag in the mountains. The Nuba Mountains, as a matter of fact, is where they're raising it. Let me go on. It says, "This is what the Lord says to me. I will remain quiet and look on from my dwelling place. The shimmering heat in the sunshine, like a cloud of dew in the heat of harvest. For before the harvest, when the blossom is gone and the flower becomes a ripening grape, he will cut off the shoots with pruning knives, and cut down and take away the spreading branches." In other words, he's going to make a separation. There's going to be a pruning, a separation. Now, the separation, what is the separation that he's talking about? In Sudan, in the area that splits the river into two, one in Ethiopia. What had happened is, in January 11th of 2011, there was a vote in Sudan There's been a lot of wars in Sudan, civil war, been going on for years and years. And this tyrant there in Sudan, who's caused millions of people to die in these wars, there was a referendum that went up in January, of voting to split the nation in half, and predominantly the northern half is Muslim, where the southern half was not Muslim, and so they wanted to separate. And January of 11th of 2011, to make a long story short, they voted. It was passed, and a new nation was born out of this voting process. The nation never existed before, and as a new nation, they had to get a brand new flag. You saw the flag. There's the brand new flag. It's going to be put up in the Nuba Mountains in Sudan, which is now the North and South Sudan. So when the Lord shows us that He's going to do a pruning, He did the separation between the North and the South in modern day Sudan, the river that's divided, just like He says. And so this is really, really exciting. And then He goes on to say in verse 7, "At that time gifts will be brought to the Lord Almighty from a people tall and smooth skin," again speaking about the Sudanese, "from a people feared far and wide, an aggressive nation of strange speech, whose land is divided by the rivers." Again, divided by the rivers. "The gifts will be brought to Mount Zion, a place of the name of the Lord Almighty." So we see that the southern part of Sudan, which is the brand new nation now, they are very, very close with Israel. As a matter of fact, I talked to a pastor who's invited me to be one of the first speakers there in the brand new nation of South Sudan, and I've requested of him taking a picture with this new flag in South Sudan so that I could put this brand new picture in my new book, as well as the flag being in the Nuba Mountains that Isaiah talked about, and which we're seeing now in our generation. The generation is to see Jesus Christ. So I have a letter from the Pastor Nicholas, who's in the capital of South Sudan, Joppa, and I want to share this with you. It'll be at my website. It says, "It's only 2 days before the birth of the Republic of South Sudan is July 9th, 2011. Today is the 8th. Tomorrow is the celebration. Here are a few information from our source on the ground for your prayer and joy with us." This is from, again, the pastor in Joppa. "South Sudan, birth of a nation. What comes next for a new country?" This is exciting because we're living in the last days and we're actually seeing it. See it right here. I'm going to have this up at my website so you'll be able to see it. The Ministry of Information of the Republic of South Sudan. Why is South Sudan celebrating independence on July 9th? How about the trappings of statehood, like the currency, the flag, the national anthem? Will there be a change to South, her legal status in the world? That was the question. What will happen to South Sudan's government and institutions and the unresolved issues in the Comprehensive Peace Agreement? What will the approach to the security issues? It says the Independence Day, the 9th of July 2011, will be an inspiration day of events in the South Sudanese capital Joppa, involving a declaration of independence, flag-raising ceremony, parade. Isaiah 18. That's the banner that Isaiah saw, that God told him that was going to be raised. And now this is the event that's going to be taking place. It says the event will be attended by community, religious, and government leaders from all around the country. 30 heads of state from Africa and other international dignitaries. Thousands of South Sudanese citizens and international friends will bear witness to the day, alongside local and international media. What they're actually bearing witness to, and many of them don't even know this, they're bearing witness to the fulfillment of God's word that he spoke in Isaiah chapter 18. I mean, this alone should drive people to know that God is real and he's coming soon. Goes on to say, around the country there will be local planned celebrations in many villages and countries. There will include ceremonies, music, dancing, and other cultural festivities, festivals to herald the birth of a new nation. Only God could have told us this and have it come to fulfillment 100% as he told us. Why is South Sudan becoming independent? The 2005 Comprehensive Peace Agreement, CPA, signed by the Sudan's People Liberation Movement Army in the south and the government of Sudan, ended 21 years of civil war and brought an end to decades of struggle. The CPA and protocols provided for the people of southern Sudan with the right to exercise their right to self-determination through a referendum to be held after a 6-year interim period. The referendum held in January 2011 was deemed free, fair, and credible by the international community and delivered an overwhelming majority vote, 98.83% in favor of secession. So what happens on the 9th of July 2011? It says this is the date that Southern Sudan officially becomes an independent country and adopts the agreed new name, the Republic of South Sudan, RSS, through the Declaration of Independence and Statehood. So you have it. You have a country that was plagued by war, which is part of prophecy. We would see civil unrest. They definitely have had it. We've seen the prophecy of Sudan where the river split, telling us exactly what people would be. We see the banner raised. We see their independence. Now tomorrow they're going to celebrate it. So my question to you is, what part of God's holy message to us of salvation in Jesus Christ do you not see? This information alone should drive you to understand that Jesus Christ is exactly who he said he was. I mean, look at the specific information that he has given to us well before the splitting, the purging, the separation of the north to the south. Now the banner is flying. It's going to be flying tomorrow on the Nuba Mountains, the mountains that separate the north from the south, the purging. So take it for what it's worth, because Jesus is the Messiah. God has showed us these events way before they ever took place. And one thing that you need to realize is God is true. He loves you. He's given us this information in these last days. In Daniel chapter 12, verse 3, he showed us that the knowledge would increase. And this also involves the knowledge of the last days as we see prophecies being fulfilled. Please give your life to Jesus Christ today, and he will save you. Knock on the door. He will open it up. And if we do get raptured in September, if we do, you will have a road home as the Lord takes you into his kingdom. And without the blood of the Lord Jesus Christ, there's no way that when that trumpet sounds that you could leave. You would be left behind to deal with the Antichrist and everything else that runs through the 7-year tribulation. And that's where you don't want to be. So God bless you all. And we're going to give you some more news. Thanks.